And as we've been doing regularly here, we want to take a moment to thank the people we're calling angels in our community, the men and women on the front lines of this battle against the coronavirus. People like Jeanette Isabel Ruiz, a nurse from Ricardo, back from helping in hospitals in Michigan. She's a traveling nurse now working at the emergency room at Spahn Kleberg Kingsville. Way to go, thank you. And people who are the essential workers out there like Ted Pashal, a delivery driver for Estes Express Lines. And then there's the Father Jerry from St. Anthony's Church in Robstown. Thank you, Father Jerry. And again, thank you all for the incredible work that you're doing out there on our behalf.